The sun hung high on a crisp Thursday afternoon, casting a warm glow over the ornate facade of the Regal Crest Hotel. Its lobby buzzed with the hum of activity, guests dragging suitcases, bellhops weaving through the crowd, and the incessant trill of the front desk phone cutting through the chatter. Amid the flurry stood Maya Jackson, a poised black woman with an air of understated elegance. She wore a breezy linen top and crisp navy slacks, her small leather duffel bag slung casually over one shoulder. No glitzy jewelry or entourage announced her presence, just quiet confidence in the way she carried herself. 6 months earlier, Maya had bought the Regal Crest Hotel, a historic gem that had fallen on hard times. For her, it was more than an investment. It was a dream to breathe new life into a place steeped in legacy, turning it into a symbol of warmth and excellence. But rather than sweep in with fanfare, Maya chose a subtler path. She wanted to see the hotel as it truly was, how the staff treated guests when they thought no one important was watching. So, that afternoon, she arrived incognito, intent on checking in like any other guest to gauge the operation firsthand. As she approached the front desk, she met the cool gaze of Chloe Bennett, the receptionist. Chloe, a young woman with glossy pink nails and a slightly crooked name tag, sized Maya up with a flick of her eyes. Her tone was sharp, edged with boredom. "Can I help you?" she asked, barely masking her disinterest. Maya offered a warm smile. "Yes, I have a reservation for tonight. Name's Jackson, Maya Jackson." Chloe's frown deepened as she pecked at her keyboard. After a moment, she looked up, brows furrowed. "I'm not seeing your name here. Are you sure you booked with us?" "Yes, I'm certain," Maya replied, her voice steady. "I got a confirmation email this morning." She slid her phone from her pocket and pulled up the email, tilting the screen toward Chloe. The receptionist barely glanced at it before shrugging. "Well, the system says there's no reservation under that name," Chloe said flatly, crossing her arms. "Are you sure you didn't mean Creston? That's a motel a few blocks over." A ripple of silence spread through the nearby guests, some shifting uncomfortably, others casting sidelong glances. Maya's expression didn't waver. "I'm positive I booked here," she said, her tone firm but calm. "Could you check again?" Chloe sighed, loud and theatrical, her annoyance plain. "Look, ma'am, I've already checked. There's no reservation, and we're fully booked. If you don't have one, there's nothing I can do." At that moment, a middle-aged man in a crisp suit approached the desk. James Carter, the hotel manager. Noticing the standoff, he stepped in. "Is there an issue here?" Chloe gestured toward Maya with a dismissive wave. "This woman says she has a reservation, but it's not in the system. I told her we're full." Maya turned to James, her smile still intact, but her patience thinning. "I'm Maya Jackson. I made a reservation and have a confirmation email to prove it." James gave her a quick, appraising look, then shook his head. "I'm sorry, but if it's not in our system, there's nothing we can do. You might try finding a room somewhere else." His voice dripped with condescension, as if she were a minor inconvenience to be brushed aside. Maya decided to shift gears. "Could you call your corporate office? They'll verify my reservation." Chloe rolled her eyes. "Mom, we're swamped. We can't waste time tracking down some mix-up. That's not our fault." Before Maya could respond, a security guard loomed into view, likely summoned by Chloe. He was tall, broad-shouldered, arms folded tightly across his chest. "Problem here?" he asked, his voice gruff. Maya raised an eyebrow. "No problem, just a misunderstanding about my reservation." The guard glanced at Chloe, who said, "She doesn't have a reservation and won't leave." "I never refused to leave," Maya corrected, her tone even. "I'm just asking for clarification." The guard straightened, his stance rigid. "Ma'am, if you don't go willingly, I'll have to escort you out." By now, the lobby had grown tense, guests whispering and a few pulling out phones to record. But Maya remained unruffled. She slipped her phone from her pocket, scrolled through her contacts, and made a call. "Hi, this is Maya Jackson," she said into the receiver. "I'm at the Regal Crest Hotel, and there's a slight issue. Could you send the regional director and legal team over? Thanks." She hung up and faced the staff. I'll wait right here. Her calm certainty unsettled Chloe and James. They exchanged uneasy looks, muttering under their breath, but held their ground. 15 minutes later, a tall man in a tailored suit strode into the lobby, flanked by two others. He approached Maya with a wide, apologetic smile. "Ms. Jackson, I'm so sorry for the trouble. We'll fix this right away." The room fell silent as all eyes turned to the scene. James's face drained of color. "Wait, Ms. Jackson, you mean?" The man in the suit turned to him. "Yes, this is Maya Jackson, the owner of the Regal Crest Hotel." Chloe's jaw dropped, her mouth working soundlessly, while James blinked in stunned disbelief. I didn't know," Chloe stammered, her voice barely audible. Maya's smile faded, replaced by a steely resolve. "That's clear, and it's why I came in anonymously, to see how you treat guests when you think it doesn't matter." She nodded to the suited man. "Please pull the staff's training records. I want a full review of their conduct and compliance with company standards." Turning back to Chloe and James, she continued, "Your behavior today was unacceptable, not just to me, but to anyone who walks in here. This isn't the hotel I want to run." James fumbled an apology, but Maya raised a hand. "Save it. Actions matter more than words. Consider this your formal notice. You're both relieved of your duties, effective immediately." Chloe's eyes welled up, but she stayed silent. James, however, bristled. "You can't just fire me without." "Actually, I can," Maya cut in. And I did. Over the next few weeks, Maya overhauled the hotel's policies and training, introducing workshops on empathy, customer service, and de-escalation. The transformation wasn't instant, but the Regal Crest slowly earned a reputation for excellence in hospitality, not just in luxury, but in respect. Maya's story spread online, lauded as a stand against bias, though for her, it was never about fame. It was about proving every guest deserved dignity, no matter who they were. And as she walked through the lobby, greeted by smiles and gratitude, she knew she'd set a new standard, one built on principle. The days before, Maya's vision. Before that fateful Thursday, Maya had spent months preparing for this moment. She'd grown up hearing stories of the Regal Crest from her grandmother, who'd worked there as a maid in the 1960s, back when it was a glittering hub for travelers. Over the years, it had faded, mismanagement and neglect dimming its shine. When it hit the market, Maya, now a successful real estate investor, saw her chance. She poured her savings into the purchase, dreaming of a hotel that honored its past while embracing a future of inclusivity. Her first step wasn't a splashy announcement. Instead, she pored over guest reviews online, complaints of rude staff, inconsistent service, and an air of elitism that clashed with the hotel's fading charm. She knew change started at the roots, so she planned her undercover visit, booking under her maiden name to slip past recognition. As she packed her duffel that morning, she felt a mix of excitement and nerves. This was her hotel now, her legacy, and she needed to see it unfiltered. The lobby showdown, a deeper look. Back in the lobby, the confrontation unfolded with more nuance than the staff realized. Chloe wasn't just bored. She was burned out. 6 months into a job she'd taken to pay off student loans, her patience eroded by long shifts and a manager who rarely praised her. James, meanwhile, clung to his title like a lifeline. His career stalled after a decade at the Regal Crest. He saw Maya as a disruption to his routine, not a guest worth accommodating. As Maya stood her ground, she noticed the guests' reactions, some sympathetic, others judgmental. A young couple near the check-in line murmured about entitlement, assuming she was the problem, while an older woman by the fountain watched with quiet approval, sensing something bigger at play. Maya cataloged it all, her mind already drafting the changes she'd enforce, training to spot bias, protocols for reservation disputes, a culture of accountability. When the regional director, Ethan Pierce, arrived, he brought more than apologies. A longtime friend from her business school days. He jumped at the chance to help her revive the hotel. With him were 2 lawyers from her firm, ready to document the incident for legal and HR purposes. Ethan's presence shifted the room's energy, Staff who'd lingered to gawk now scurried back to work, sensing the tide turning. The aftermath, a hotel reborn. Firing Chloe and James was just the start. Maya spent the next day in a cramped office off the lobby, reviewing personnel files with Ethan. Chloe's record showed promise, but no formal training. Hired for her looks and left to flounder. James had a history of guest complaints, brushed off by prior management. Maya didn't relish letting them go, but their actions had crossed a line. She offered them severance and a chance to reapply after retraining, though neither took it. The overhaul took weeks. Maya hired consultants to lead staff workshops, role-playing scenarios like her own experience, dissecting how snap judgments shaped service. She sat in on sessions, listening as employees opened up about pressure from above and a lack of guidance. Slowly, the mood shifted. A bellhop named Marcus, who'd watched her stand off silently, became her unofficial ally, sharing insights from the trenches. Guests noticed the change. Online reviews praised the staff's newfound warmth, and occupancy rates climbed. A viral video of the lobby incident, captured by a bystander, sparked headlines: "Hotel owner goes undercover, fires rude staff." Maya cringed at the attention, but used it to spotlight her mission. Hospitality wasn't just about luxury. It was about respect. Personal stakes, Maya's reflection. Late one night, as she walked the quiet halls of the Regal Crest, Maya paused by a framed photo of the hotel's 1960s heyday. She thought of her grandmother, who'd scrubbed floors here, invisible to the guests she served. This was for her, for everyone who'd been dismissed or underestimated. The hotel wasn't perfect yet, but it was hers, and she'd fight to make it right.